Question: what is the equation of this graphed hyperbola? So we know it's a hyperbola. So what we need to know now is whether it's a vertical or horizontal parabola. It is a horizontal parabola because it touches the x-axis. Okay, so horizontal parabolas start off with x values being first at the first fraction, like a and b. C and D have y. Those would be horizontal parabolas. Next thing we need to find is the center of this hyperbola. Center of this hyperbola right here is going to be at 1, 3. So right here, remember when we take values outside and inside the parentheses, they become opposite signs. And right here, the -1 and -3 and the -1 and -3 on A and B, neither one of them changed. The next thing that is important is to find out the angles and the intensities and the turning of these hyperbolas, the two hyperbolas, or the two parabolas that make up the hyperbola. And the thing that changes that is the number down at the bottom. You can go on your calculator and graph both A and B and see which one comes out to be more like this picture. And on this one, the particular answer is going to be A. Next question. Which graph represents y equals 1/3 to the x? This is an exponential function because my x value is in the exponent form. So I can start marking off answers that have graphs that aren't exponential forms. F is a logarithmic form, so it can't be f. H is a form of an exponential form, but it's more of a logarithm, so it's not going to be that. So I have an answer of G and J. Now, the number that is being raised to the exponential or the exponent variable tells me whether it's growth or decay. If that variable, we'll just say y equals a to the x. If a is greater than 1, that is a growth. If a is less than 1, that is a decay. A growth will look like this right here. A decay will look like that right there. So G is going to be my answer. If I forget that, all else fails, take that, plug it in my calculator, and see which one it looks like. Next question. Karen, here's a scream that has a relative intensity R of 90 decibels. So in this formula right here, I find an R. The relative intensity of sound R in decibels is given by the formula R equals 10 times log I over I naught, where I is the intensity of the sound and I sub naught is the threshold of hearing. How does the intensity of the scream I compare to the intensity of the threshold of hearing I sub naught? So right here, I have R equals 10 log I sub naught. Our R is 90 decibels. And I have 10 log I sub naught. And I'm going to divide 10 by both sides to get 9. So my answer is D, 9 times as loud. (14) Given that x plus 2 and x minus 1 are factors of this polynomial equation, what is the third factor? So what I need to do is I'm going to graph this, and I'm going to find my zeros of this function. I'm going to go on, new document, save no, add graphs. So right here I have 2x cubed, I have 2x carried 3. I have x squared plus x squared. I have minus 5x minus 5x. And I have plus 2 plus 2. and it crosses my x-axis 3 times. So obviously I know I have my function right here, given that x plus 2 equals 0, or does not equal 0, x minus 1 cannot be 0. I'm sorry, equals 0, equals 0. So subtract 2 from both sides, and I have x equals negative 2. I add 1 to both sides, add 1, I have x equals 1. So that's what I have in my function right now being graphed. I have this right here where x equals negative 2, and I have x right here where x is 1. I need to find my other function, or my other solution to this function. So I'm going to go menu, analyze graph for a 0. And I can tell right here where my function is going to be. If I slide it to the right, I can see right there where 0, 1 is one of my zeros. If I slide it over here to the left, I can see where 0.5, 0 is my other answer. So I have 0.5, 0 as one of my zeros. Do I see that over here? Well, no, I don't. I'm going to have to go to F, G, H, and J, all my answers, and set them equal to 0 to see where x, in fact, is 0.5. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you the answer is F. I can go 2x minus 1 equals 0. I can add 1 to both sides and get 2x equals 1. Divide by 2, and x equals 1/2, or 0.5. If that ended up not being my answer, I'd go to the next one, and I would eliminate them until I would get the correct answer of 0.5. Next question. Kylie is making a box with an open top for a square from a square piece of cardboard that measures 11 inches on each side. So here's 11 inches here, 11 here. First, she cuts the square of uniform side length x from each corner of the cardboard box. Then she folds the cardboard to form the lateral faces of the box, which function models the volume of the box. Remember, volume right here, it says base times height. Well, in this more particular, base, being capitalized, is the area of the base, which is length times width times that height right there. Volume is always 3-dimensional. Well, just base times height, that's being 2-dimensional. But it's talking about the area of the base, which is length times width times height. So that's what the base looks like right now, or I'm sorry, the cardboard box looks flat, and when she's done, it's going to look like this right here. It's going to be a folded up box. Okay? So I'm going to have 3 dimensions of it. It's going to have length, width, and height. Okay, so let's see what it's going to look like. Well, she's taken out an X from each side on each cut. So if I just focus on this top part right here, it's 11 inches long, but she's taken off 2 X's. So she has 11, and if she's taking it away, she's going to subtract 1 X and another X, which can be written as 11 minus 2X when I combine like terms right here. Okay? So if I'm trying to find the length of this, that would be 11 minus 2X. Well, if I'm trying to find the height of this right here, I have the same thing. She's taking an X away here at the top and here at the bottom. So if she has a length of 11 minus 2X, then she's going to have a width of 11 minus 2X once I take away these X's. So say she started with 11 inches, and say these both were 2. So she would take away 2 inches on both of them. So then that would be 9 minus 2, which is 7 inches, which is the same, or what it would be if this X would be 2. But we don't know what the X is, so we're just saying X. Okay? So I have a length and a width. I have a length of 11 minus 2X, I have a width of 11 minus 2x. Now I need a height. So when she folds these x's up, we're going to get a height of whatever this length is. And what is that length? Well, we don't know what it is. And the reason why we don't know is because it's x. So when I multiply my length times width times height together, I can put it in any order I would like. And I'm going to choose to put it in this order, and I'll show you why. Because when I have 11 minus 2x times 11 minus 2x, I can write that as 11 minus 2x to the third power. Or I'm sorry, to the second power, which looks a lot like b. Now, being a good Algebra 2 student knowing volume is three-dimensional, I would know that it can't be a because there's only two dimensions there, squared. Well, I have x to the 1 power, and then I have this being squared. I have three dimensions, height, length, and width. Right here, C, I only have two dimensions. I just have length and width. Right here on D, I have x, which is going to be my height, and I have length and width, which is going to be these two right here. So I only have a possible two answers. But whenever I figure out how to work it, I can figure my answer is going to be B. It takes a little bit more to think about this one right here, but it's nothing that we haven't seen before, nothing that we're not able to do. Let's go to the next question. What are the solutions of this equation? Right here I have fractions. I don't like to deal with fractions, so I need to find common denominators and multiply to get rid of them. I have a denominator of 2 and x. So I'm going to multiply everything by 2x to get rid of those denominators. So right here, 2x times 2x is going to be 4x squared. Then I have plus 10x over 2 set equal to 6x over x. Now I need to eliminate. 4x squared doesn't eliminate. 10 divided by 2 is going to be 5x equals 6. Since this is a trinomial with x squared, x, and no x's, I'm going to set it equal to 0 and get 4x squared plus 5x minus 6 equal to 0. Now, none of us like to mess with trinomials that have leading coefficients right here other than 1, so we are going to graph this. 4x squared plus 5x minus 6 on new document, save no, and graphs. 4x squared plus 5x minus 6. I want to find where it crosses the x-axis. So I'm going to go menu, analyze graph, 4, 0. And I'm going to do the shortcut way where I click in the middle of them and I slide to the left and I get -2. I slide to the right, and I get 0.75. 0.75 in fraction form is going to be 3/4. So we're going to be good math students, we know that. So I had -2 and 3/4, which is going to be H. Next question. Tanisha used the table to compare the number of school year books purchased Y in Mr. Back's class each year X that he was a teacher. So we're just basically going to take these numbers right here, this T chart, and I'm going to put it in a scatter plot. So right here I have X, I have Y. So I need to match up my 1 with my 23, my 2 with my 22, 3 with my 23, and so on and so forth as it goes on. Well, right here I have 1 being 23, and I have 2 being 24 years. You can see right here where the red dot is. I'll use blue since it matches up. Well, that's not how it has up here, so it can't be A. Also can't be B because at 2 years it says that he had 23 books. So it's not B either. You mosey on through here, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4 are all the same, but where it gets different is at 5. 5 had to be 23 yearbooks. So when we scroll down and we go to 5, there's 5 at 23, and right here it goes 5 at 22. So there's really no math involved in this other than reading a T-chart, regardless of whoever, Tanisha and Box or whoever. It doesn't really matter. What matters is being able to read a T-chart and match it up to a scatter plot, which is not a hard concept. Next question. Right here, again, I have a T-chart, X and Y. Which type of function best models the data in this table? Well, I don't really know. But what I do know is I can draw a graph and I can plot these points to where it would match up here. So let's see here. Let me draw my graph. So let's graph the first one right here. -3, 3. Right there. So we got that one. Let's graph the second one. -2.5, 2. -1, 1.5. -0.5, 1. 1, -0.5. 1.5, 1. 2, 2.5, and 3, -3. Well, if I were to draw a line of best fit down through there, what does that most likely represent? Does it represent an exponential function? Does it go like this right here? No. Does it represent a logarithmic function by looking like that? It's not quadratic like a parabola, so therefore it is linear. It's a line. Line of best fit. Nothing wrong with that right there. Next question. Which formula can be used to determine the 50th term of the sequence? First of all, we need to determine whether it's arithmetic, being plus or subtract, minus or add or minus, or geometric, where it's multiply or divide. Okay? So let's look to see if it's arithmetic. If it's arithmetic, it has a common difference, being it's adding 2 to each one, it's adding 3, it's subtracting 5, something like that. So let's look. How do I go from 4 to 6? Well, I add 2. How do I go from 6 to 9? I add 3. Well, it can't be arithmetic because therefore it would be a constant term. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. It would never deviate from that difference. Well, let's look at being geometric. See if there's a common difference here. Well, what about 6/4? The difference right here. Well, that reduces to be 3/2. What about, how do I go from 6 to 9? Well, what if I divide 9 by 6? If I reduce it, I get 3/2. And if I just keep going through there, I end up getting 3/2. If I multiply 9 by 3/2, I get 13.5. If I multiply 13.5 by 3/2, I get 20.25. So therefore, it's not going to be arithmetic. So I can go down here to my answers and I can multiply, or I can mark out all the answers that seem to be arithmetic. So I need to see which one looks like this form right here. Well, that looks to be like A, so it can't be A. Seems to be this form right here where a number is being divided by 2, multiplied by 2 numbers being added together. That looks like B. Not going to be B. So I've eliminated 2 of my 4 answers, which seems to be the case on every question that I do. Let's go here. Geometric. It's geometric. And I have a common, I have to have, let's see what it's asking. Which formula can be used to determine the 50th term? Well, the nth term, 50th term formula looks like this right here. So I need to find which one, C or D, look to be that right there. Where A sub n is going to be the term I'm trying to find, which is A sub 50, equals A sub 1, which is my first term, which is 4, being multiplied by my common ratio, which is 1.5 or 3/2, same thing. And then I have n minus 1, which is 50 minus 1. So on this one right here, I have C as an answer. it doesn't even ask me to determine what the 50th term is. It just asks me to find the formula I'm going to use.